It's Wednesday, November 23rd, and that means it is time for another electric episode of Ekeler's Edge. Joining me, obviously, as always, is LA Chargers running back Austin Ekeler. Austin, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, man, what's up, man? Body's a little sore, but mine's a little sore.
Sure.
I have a love-hate relationship. Maybe I said this last time, but football, love-hate, it's so great.
Yeah.
And so frustrating at the same time. But you know what? You know what's not frustrating? Ekeler's Edge. Appreciate being here with you, man. This is one of the highlights of the week. Just kind of calm down. I do a lot of different shows, and doing stuff like this is great when I can just speak kind of freely about what's going on, and just hang out and have a good time with the boys. So let's get into it.
No doubt, man. You did say that last week. I feel like you can say that. You can say that literally every week, right?
Every week.
I mean,
Win or lose.
we're in the thick of it too. We're heading into week 12. Like we're not even we're not really close to the end, but we're not even close to the beginning. We're pretty far away from that. So it's definitely that time of the season, man. And I'm sure you're feeling it much more than me or anybody else out there.
Yeah, man. Literally win or lose. Like if I win, it's like, yes, I love it. Lose, come on. I still love it, but it's like, frustrating at the same time. The season, it drags. And just time in the year, my body, I just feel my spine is like sore, like just twisting. My neck is sore. Just like my lower body is sore. Like my shoulder's sore. And it's like, my energy is, I'm holding on, man. Let's go. Let's keep pushing, right? Like the season, as it just continues to go on, it just continues to test you mentally and physically. Because guess what? There's no drop off. You got to keep going. You have to continue to play at a high level no matter what, because you got a scheduled amount of games, and then hopefully you're getting to earn more after that. So, that's the love-hate right there. It's a grind.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're making me feel bad. I'm sure listeners to the podcast could tell I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days since I got back. Yeah, but it's that time of year, right? So I'm walking around the house complaining, my nose is stuffy, I'm sneezing, and Austin's here like my shoulder's sore, my spine is sore, all this stuff. Okay, maybe I need to shut the hell up. But we're wishing for the best for you, man. Hey, but before we dive into the show, any giveaways you got to hype up here for the people as we head into this week?
The huge, man. We got the huge going on. Make sure you jump into that. Our attendance has been going on the rise. Score some decent points. Need to get back into the 20s and 30s. But if you got me on your team, you can get yourself back into my jersey giveaways that I do every single week. Signed jerseys. I give away 2 of them. All you got to do is retweet or post on Instagram and tag me that you have me on your team, and it automatically enters, and we pick 2, 1 from each platform, and we'll hit you up in the DMs. So yeah, man, get yourself a jersey out there.
I mean, I think you've been doing just fine in fantasy. All right, I don't know you. I think you've been doing fine, but we'll get into your performance and the Chiefs and Chargers game in just a second here. But wanted to ask you if you got a chance to catch any of Monday Night Football in Mexico City. 49ers 38 points, Cardinals 10. That 49ers offense, it's weird because we talked with Debo last week about how many dudes they've got on there, and yet sometimes like that game against you guys, it's like, okay, they won the game. Some of the guys popped off and everything. But it feels in a way like it should look like this every week, right? Like 38 points and all these dudes go off. Ayuk 2 touchdowns, Kittle 2 touchdowns, CMC catches 7 balls. Debo has a big ass play. It feels like it should look like this every week, but when it does, it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how football goes. You have these expectations for players, but we say it all the time. Paper doesn't play football. Like we got to go out there and actually execute. Just because we have the ability to make these types of plays doesn't mean we always execute and get those done. Because we have people that also have ability that are trying to pose us getting it done. It depends on if we're having a good day, if we're on, if we're off, what the level of energy is, how we're executing, our focus, all these factors that play into what that caliber of play is going to be. And the 49ers got it done last night. Wow. I mean, obviously, the Cardinals did not have Kyler Murray, so that definitely it plays a factor. But yeah, shout out to the 49ers for showing and utilizing their potential, I would say.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And, the Cardinals, I know you guys have dealt with a ton of injuries. We'll obviously talk about that. Like, it sucks. It feels like we've got to talk about a Chargers injury every week. But the Cardinals, man, they didn't have, obviously it was suspension, but they didn't have D-Hop for a long time. Then Marquise Brown gets hurt. Last night, Rondale Moore gets hurt. Obviously, they're missing Kyler Murray. Just we'll see what happens with them. They've got a lot of questions to answer in the offseason. I think the Cardinals do. But for the 49ers, man, it's just really fun to see all that talent coming together.
Yeah, it's fun for them. Not great for, Monday Night Football showing for the Cardinals out there. But yeah, they put on a show out there, and it was in Mexico too. So that was a good show for them. I know people like to see offense, so yeah. They definitely.
Hey, the 49ers fans showed up too. Like Kyle Shanahan talked about it after the game. He was like, "Man, we were pretty surprised, we were expecting, but pleasantly surprised to see a ton of 49ers fans there." So they got a big reception. That's pretty cool. Always good. It's just good to see. We talk about football as a grind, and we love it, and we hate it. But we do love it, right? And it's great to see the game kind of growing internationally, stuff like that. We've had a game in Germany, we've had a game in Mexico, we've got the London games. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. So that's great to see.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Chiefs 30, Chargers 27.
Man. I don't know, man. For whatever reason, like the past 3 times, man, I feel like all of our games, I said this to a reporter in the middle of the week, like this game will come down to all 60 minutes. Like it always does. Every time we play these guys, it comes down to every single second mattering in the game that one team could potentially win or lose all the way down to the end. And that did not disappoint. That was exactly the situation. And man, yeah, we felt like coming out strong. It was a close game the entire time with a couple lead changes, which always makes it a little bit more exciting. Not necessarily for us as players, but for everyone else, this is a good game. They're going back and forth. Yeah. But man, we just weren't able to give ourselves the cushion that we knew we were going to need. We need to get ourselves 2-score lead going against Patrick, man, in that offense, because we know what they can do, in 2 minutes. We've seen that. They've done that, and they've proven that. They've earned that right to, be like, man, look, they're expected to go score with, so any time on the clock in 2 minutes. So us as an offense, man, we came out flat in the third quarter. We only had 6 plays in the third quarter, 2 3-and-outs. And so there's little things like that. I had little opportunities here and there to capitalize on and get in the end zone even more. But that's football. We went out there, fought as hard as we can, just like we do every week. And that was one of those where just back and forth, both of us making plays. And that's the NFL for you, man. You can go out there and fight as hard as you can, but guess what? That doesn't guarantee anything, because there's another team on the other side doing the exact same thing. And so it was a glorious battle. And, I'll always remember our Chiefs-Chargers battles going forward, man, because they're always epic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Herbert-Mahomes matchup is going to be one of those for a long, long time. Chargers-Chiefs obviously is going to be a must-see thing. You kind of answered it because I was going to ask you, what is your mindset as somebody that's on the sideline that's got to watch Mahomes go out there in the with less than 2 minutes? Because I'll tell you what, man, I've written this I write a recap column every night, every Sunday night. It's like 5 things I care about, the 5 things I don't care about. And I know that I've written the headline. I even said it in this week's edition. I know I've written this before, but I'm writing it again. Patrick Mahomes is just inevitable. Like he's like Thanos, right? In the end of freaking Infinity Wars, where I am inevitable. He snaps his finger like that. He is that dude. I had to laugh too when the broadcast. I'm obviously you didn't see this, but the broadcast puts up the Chiefs have a 24% win probability with the under 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what the model says, but you can go ahead and throw the model in the trash when 15 comes out there. It's just got to be exhausting knowing that that guy's going to go out and do his thing.
Yeah, man. I'm there and come on defense, right? But yeah, he's a great player. And he's shown that, and that's what he does. And those types of moments, he comes alive with his legs, or when he's throwing the ball, right? He makes good decisions, and who else comes alive for him? Number 87, Travis Kelce. Oh my God, one of the best players just in the league in general. And so both of them together in 2 minutes, those dudes come alive, and they definitely did for their team. And yeah, man, I'm as the guy on the sideline, I'm just sitting there come on, defense, we just need to play. And we're able to get it done. But yeah, I can see us if we take care of business. Looking forward to, being able to play them, because that's a team that, you're probably going to have to play 3 times a year, on
Right.
our side in our division anyway, if we're going to make it to where we want to go. So I don't shy away from it. I love facing those guys. It's always a fun battle. Win or lose, obviously feels better to win. But man, it's just a reminder of why I love to grind and go and play this game.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like you said, I think we could see it a third time. Hey, what did you think about Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco? Like, we talked about CEH is a guy who's been there for them for a while. He gets injured in this game. They had kind of almost phased him out a little bit of the offense last week, but they kind of were bringing him back in. But man, Pacheco, 15 carries, over 100 yards. That guy's got some pop to him.
Yeah, man. I mean, our defense is struggling to, stop the run. And that's been, something that's been for, the past 3 weeks. We're trying to get it figured out over there. But yeah, he ran hard, man. He definitely ran hard. Like this guy, I feel like he's got like this violent upper body,
Yes.
like run style. So it makes him look like he's like running harder than he actually, like, I know he's running hard, but this man's just so jerky. Like he's just like if you get hit with one of those, you might get knocked out. But man, yeah, it was just a unique type of, like, me and the other running back, Sony, was like, man, like when he run, like what's going on with his upper body? But as far as getting the ball, setting the track, and running, like this man, he looks like he's young, right? Just really just running to run, right? Which can be effective, but I think as he learns, he'll be able to control as far as his style of running, maybe setting up blocks a little bit more. But it was definitely effective against us last night, or when we played them.
Yeah, 7th round rookie. So he is kind of like you, a guy that's really made his way on special teams. Like he was the kick returner for them. I think that's kind of how he really made the roster in the offseason, but they've started to use him more and more a little bit,
I guess that makes sense why he runs like that. Like,
yeah, he runs like a kick returner a little bit, right?
He runs like a kick returner. I look at Cordero Patterson, when that guy runs, it's the same way, man. He's setting the track and he's running through whatever's in front of him that direction. So that makes sense now.
Yeah. But still, just overall, it's hard to say like, oh, the Chiefs have a missing dimension because their offense is so good, but it feels like they have, at least this year and parts of late last year, they'd kind of missed like a bit of a power running dynamic, and they have a great offensive line they've invested in and everything. It feels like Pacheco could give them an extra dimension. So certainly for folks that picked him up on their fantasy team, like if CEH is going to miss a bunch of games here, like Pacheco, they might not be throwing him the ball too often. They've got Jerick McKinnon to do that, but he could be a guy that has a couple big games on the ground here to end the season for sure. And just like, I always love rooting for the guys that are kind of underdogs like this. Just like I said, similar to you, 7th round rookie, like somebody that when he popped up in the preseason, everybody's like, who the hell is this Isaiah Pacheco guy that everybody's talking about? And he's certainly making it happen here.
Heck yeah, man. That's one of the great things about the league, man. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at, where you're from, where you drafted, undrafted. Like, you get an opportunity, man. Like, that's really all you can ask for. You can take advantage of that, and guess what? You start to create a new narrative for yourself. Start to create a new role. And you start to build on that. Like 6 years ago, no one listening to this knew who Austin Ekeler was. Like, no one knew that I used to wear number 3 in preseason, and I was just out there trying to find a way, right? But you continue to build on a role that you have, and then you get a little bit more trust from the organization, from your coaches. You build a little bit more, build, and then you just, after you do that for a few years, all of a sudden you just have this giant thing that you've built up, your big role, your reputation. And so that's what's great about the NFL, is it allows you to do that, and then it spills over into your life. And there's so many life lessons that can be learned, from football that can transfer into your life. And so that's where I love just how it all comes back full circle as far as the things that are learned along the journey of football. Yeah, man.
I remember, I think, was it 2017 was your rookie year? I remember being at NFL Network at the time, talking to my buddy James Coe, who I still work with on my side project, Reception Perception now. But we were both like, who the hell is this Austin Ekeler? Like what is this guy? Like he's got some juice as a receiver, right? And now it's like, okay, that seems crazy to say now because you're one of the most established running backs in the NFL and you're a great player. But you're right, it is that journey. And like when we first met, in early 2020.
Yeah.
Like you were in a different place in your life then than you are now. And it's just,
Yeah.
you're right. It is like the journey of life and the journey of football and stuff like that, and we'll see what happens with Isaiah, but it's just pretty cool to see that. That's why I love following guys throughout the course of their career, because everything can be so different and like the ups and downs of it all.
It's interesting too. Yeah, it's very interesting just to see like, hey, like how are they doing? Are they doing anything, in the community? Like, what are they getting into? Like, that's why I encourage guys to like, hey, like share a little bit of your personal life, not necessarily like things you're doing day to day, but things you're interested in, right? Because it adds depth to the story of yourself, right? It gives a deeper meaning to the connection that people may have to you, because they might be also interested in the same thing and they like you as a football player at the same time. Now you get a double whammy. So when your football career ends, right, you have the longevity of why they're still interested in you, because they still are like, oh yeah, he does XYZ. I also like to do XYZ. Maybe it's, like we were having Jonathan Taylor on here. He likes to play video games. Maybe you like to play the same video game. Maybe he puts out some content, starts getting into that. Like all these different things that you can do. Like for myself, I would say for me, I like to put out like little motivational clips, right? I love to help people just try to become a better version of themselves. And so hopefully you can find value in that, right? It's just these value exchanges. Can I give value to my team? Can I give value to my friends and family around me? We have Thanksgiving coming up. Perfect opportunity, right? To come and connect with people, right? To just, see people that you haven't maybe saw in a while, and right, reconnect, see how they're doing, right? Just continue to keep connections close. And so, man, for me, that's really like my entire life journey is how can I create value in my life, not just a football, because I didn't even know I was going to be playing in the NFL. I didn't even think about playing in the NFL when I was growing up. I just really thought about growing myself and the opportunities in front of me and adding value where I could and growing on those. And so, man, good stuff we're talking about. So yeah, Isaiah, we're watching, man. We're watching.
Yeah, definitely watching, see what happens. And it's a great point overall. Like there's just a lot of people like to see more about you guys than just like you as players. And even like for me and my platform or whatever, it's like I'd like to try to talk about stuff beyond just like football sometimes. And there'll always be trolls that are like, hey, stick to football, whatever. And I'm not trying to get out there and get into serious stuff, but talk about like stuff I like to cook, like my dogs, my real life stuff like that. And for the most part, it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to hear about it, just keep scrolling, right? Like just whatever. Like you can just
exactly.
Yeah, it's cool for people to see beyond just you guys as a player. We got to talk about the Chargers here a little bit though. You had a great performance on the ground, 19 carries, 83 yards. I know you feel like you've left some opportunities on the field, everything like that. Only 2 catches though. And Austin, this is something that you have talked about on the podcast is it's great. Like, okay, my fantasy numbers are great because I'm putting up all these catches, but like I want wide receivers making those plays because, be bigger plays. And Keenan Allen back in the offense, 5 catches, 94 yards. Man, the guy's he's so good, right? Like he just brings such a dimension.
He's so good.
He's so good, right? He's still so good coming off the injury. He's like, what is he, 30, 31 years old?
It don't even matter.
Yeah. He's got game that ages like fine wine,
Yes.
He ages well because he's such a good route runner.
Wow. Yeah. See, look at the beauty of our team when I don't have to catch, 8, 10 balls or have them all thrown to me. Like that's what I want to see. Like J-Herb's throwing it down the field, man. Like we're moving the ball chunks. Like we need explosive plays. Not saying I can't get those, but it's saying like it's a lot higher probability if we're throwing the ball 15 yards down the field instead of throwing it to me 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. Now I got to go try to get 15 and everyone's rallying to me and I got to bake 3 tackles to do that. Right. So yeah, for fantasy purposes, yeah, it's great if I'm catching all those balls. Maybe even not, because then we're getting one dimensional. I know I caught a good amount of balls for San Fran, and look at that performance. And so like it opens up our offense so much more when we're able to throw the ball down the field. And man, like I only had 2 catches. I was talking to my mom I'm glad I only had 2 catches. I was like, yes,
that's great.
Yes. Keenan was back doing his thing. Josh Palmer popped off. Mike Williams was in there, had a big catch. And so like, man, like getting some of these guys that have made plays for our organization and continue to do so is a great feeling. It's a really great feeling to see those guys doing their thing.
Yeah. And look, I think a guy like Keenan Allen, who just, talk about just guy gets open, right? Like just gets open all the time, beats man coverage, knows how to sit down against zone coverage. He's the number one receiver. Like how many offenses in the NFL do you think can lose their number one receiver that's that good at that phase of the game? Like look, guy like Stephon Diggs, who I think is one of the 2 or 3. I mean, I think he's the best, but one of the best route runners in the NFL. If the Bills lost Stephon Diggs, their offense would look different. And it shows up in the numbers. We talked about it last week, how Justin Herbert had been under 6 yards per attempt in 4 straight games. He's at 9.3. Like, it just makes a difference because it opens up opportunities for other guys on the field as well.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And like just the things that Keenan does to get open, right? Just it gives us a whole nother option, right? It's like we know Keenan's going to get open. Like that's why we pay him $20 million a year, because he's one of those guys that is going to be able to come through, get open, sit in the zones, get good spatial awareness, good tempo, on cue, with blocking assignments, with knowing the game, with Justin's timing, like complete number one, as you're saying, right? And when you lose those, it definitely affects your team. And so, yeah, it was really great to see him back, and looking forward to continuing to see him catch some more balls.
Yeah, so I think for fantasy, we can expect more big Keenan Allen days, and maybe Austin won't catch like 13 damn balls all the time, but I'm sure you'll make it up in other ways, buddy. Like like I said, 19 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Pretty solid performance from you against a pretty good defense there in Kansas City. Chris Jones, by the way, is a guy that I think needs to be talked about more. That guy wreaks so much havoc, and I feel like he's the most underappreciated player during this like kind of Chiefs Mahomes run here. I mean, we talk about Mahomes, we talk about Kelsey. Chris Jones, what a stud, dude. That guy is a game wrecker.
Yeah, he's definitely a game wrecker. Like as teams, as offenses, we definitely know who Chris Jones is, especially playing against him the past few years, right? But when it comes to talking in the media, not talking about 3 techs, like not talking about
like Aaron Donald and nobody else, right? Like nobody else exists.
Like, you're amazing. You talk about edge players, but interior, it's just the flashiness, not necessarily the impact. Definitely a big impact on the game, but as far as talking in the media, not the flashiest position.
Yeah.
So
no doubt. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We come back. We are gonna just sorry, I'm gonna say that again. We come back. We're gonna talk about what we're thankful for here heading into Thanksgiving, and throw to our Jonathan Taylor interview. All right, Austin. It's Thanksgiving week. I know our time is running short, but I do want to give you a chance to talk about your foundation, because this is a time where people love to hear about this stuff, and I know you got some big stuff coming up here.
Yeah, man, just, talking about Thanksgiving, and I know maybe people get a little cringy when you talk about things you're thankful for. But for me, it's like, I would say the biggest opportunity, that's what I'm actually gonna get to, that I'm thankful for is opportunities, like having opportunities, and specifically with the foundation too, because I'm in a situation where now I have resources, I have this platform, and I'm trying to use it to help other people basically be able to have opportunities. So big thing about me, if you didn't know, is I love opportunities, providing them, taking advantage of them, helping people get them. Like that's like what I'm about. That's what I want to do with my life. And so, yeah, with the Austin Ekeler Foundation, we've done, several different projects. We're actually working on a project right now where we're building a weight room for a high school in Long Beach.
Nice.
For me, it gets a little personal with the weight room. People will say, I'm really strong, stuff like that. But like for me, like I really truly believe I learned how to work hard. I learned so many social skills. I learned how to push myself mentally and physically in the weight room. It's not just going there and it's a weight room. Like, no, this is where you go learn life lessons that can be applied to other things. So that's why at the Austin Ekeler Foundation, that's actually our second weight room that we're implementing. And so, yeah. That's one of the things I'm thankful for, is being able to give back. And, if you're also wanting to, join in on what we got going on, we definitely have a sale too. I'm wearing some merch today, the Austin Ekeler Foundation, and we have a whole other selection of sweatshirts, crop tops, long sleeves, things like that are all 15% off. And all those funds go to all the projects we're doing specifically right now for the weight room in Long Beach. And that's at austinekeler.com if you want to check that out. And so, for me, really, like it comes back when we talk about Thanksgiving, what I'm most thankful for is opportunities when it comes down to it. How about yourself, man? What you got going on?
Oh no, I mean, listen, I'm not building any gyms in high schools or
Oh,
stuff like that,
it's
but
not even about that, right? It's not even about doing all these epic things. I've just been presented an opportunity to be able to give back, right? And so that's
yeah.
just one of the things I'm so thankful for. And I'm so thankful that's a big part of my life. And because for me, if I didn't have the opportunities that I had, if I didn't have these experiences, then I wouldn't have been like all those have led up to this point, right? If I didn't have those, I wouldn't be here. So, trying to continue to help others because I'm in a fortunate spot where I have excess amount of resources, and that could be perspective. Everything's perspective, but for me, I'm like, okay, I have enough. I have opportunities. I have a growth mindset that I'm gonna continue to grow. Let me help others do that at the same for themselves as well.
Yeah, man, I just think it's cool when you find something that hits close to home like that. Like you feel like you came, into your persona and like what you are as a person. You found yourself in like the weight room. You put that back into people's lives. Like I think it's cool. Look, like you can give money to charity, like you can do charitable things,
Yeah,
like, and of course that's great. But I love to do the same type of thing, when it comes to causes that I really care about too. And it just is that's how you put some of yourself back into it instead of just like putting your resources into it, because I feel
yeah.
like that it just I just believe that, right, that there is a way that exponentially grows and builds on itself when you're putting a little bit of like your soul or whatever into something that you care about like that. So that's great
Absolutely.
to see, man.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. So yeah, we appreciate that. And like you said, for us at the AEF, at the Austin Eckler Foundation, like we love like implementing resources. Like money is definitely a thing when it comes to like, hey, sustaining some of these things. But like for us, we want like tangible. I want you to be able to put your hands on it, use this for years to come, right? That continues to actually physically help you, right? It's in front of you, whether it's bags, whether it's supplies, whether it's weight rooms, whether it's washers and dryers, like all of these things that actually add straight value to your life, that you can use. And here's the thing about it, because it like I was thought, I was like, let me like do a mentorship. But it's like I can only help people so much, right? Right. So
Right.
let me put a resource there that now it's up to you to take advantage of it. And so that's another reason why I love weight rooms so much, because you have to be the one to put the one foot in front of the other to get in there and go through the ropes and go through the grind. And if you don't do that, then I can't help you, because then you're not in the spot where you can actually be helped. Like you have to be the one that makes up your mind to go out there and actually make a change in your life, or actually start something new in your life, or a new journey. So that's why I love the weight room project so much.
Yeah, and it's not even just about you, right? Like 15, 20 years from now, somebody could be using that weight room and they don't even know that like Austin Eckler
That's
Foundation wasn't
fine.
even a part of it. Yeah, who
Yeah,
cares?
that's great. Like it's not about me getting recognition. It's about someone else like using that thing and like, man, being like, man, I love being in this weight room. Like I love being around my friend. Like giving value to someone else's life is that's the part I care about. The recognition, there's no recognition. Like there might be an Austin Eckler Foundation logo on the wall. But after 1 year after I build it, no one's going to remember that Austin built that. And I
Right.
think that's also the beauty in it, because you're just using it as a resource. That's all I want you to see it as. You see it as something that you can use to better yourself, you know.
Hey, man. Well, that's awesome. I'll tell you what's about to better this podcast. We're about to throw to our Jonathan Taylor interview. You folks are going to love hearing that. This guy's great. Love talking to Jonathan Taylor. Let's get into it. All right. Absolutely hyped to welcome to Eckler's Edge Colts star running back, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan, buddy, how's it going, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling well, Matt. I appreciate you guys taking out the time. It's dope. I actually talked to Austin about this a bit in the off season, so I'm excited that now we finally found the time to get this thing rolling.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I'm glad we got the time to get you on as well. I'm glad you found the time for us as well. So it's mutual, my friend. Just jumping in, year 3 for you, right? This is year 3.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious, because I know how I feel, and I'll speak on it after I hear your response. But year 3, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you've kind of gotten a rhythm as far as the NFL works? Are you getting it under your belt? Like, how have you seen yourself grow into becoming a pro coming into year 3?
Number one thing I would say is now I just keep thinking about like the future as far as my routine and my process. So year one, you kind of don't know anything. Year two, you start asking questions and you kind of try to start building routines where you just kind of start doing stuff. You're like, okay, I'll get a massage here, or I'll get this work done here. Year three, you start knowing your body. You're like, okay, know, middle of the season, this usually acts up. So in the off season, let me focus on this. Let me do maintenance work on here. So now I'm just like, okay, how can I continue to enhance my recovery process, my prehab process? It's like now I'm starting to think of how can I be able to maintain this for as long as I can. You know, we all want to play the game as long as we
Right.
can. So start thinking about how can I preserve this.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. And then for me, like year 3, I felt like that's when you really figure out, like, okay, you know what the NFL is about. You've been around it for a couple years. Going into your 3rd year, it's pretty much the same thing over and over. But now, exactly, how can you critique it? How can you do what works for you that helps you sustain? And then I also would build on top of that is, as far as the outside of football stuff too starts to really pick up. You said you're thinking about the future. It's not just for football, but also for other things in a part of your life. Because that's when I feel like endorsements start becoming a real thing, because you've had some time to get your name out there, do those things, right? Start setting yourself up with investments, start to build that that network. So just curious to hear about the extra stuff. Like what do you do on an off day? What's a typical off day for JT?
Number one, in the off day, I wake up in the morning. I'm a big Peloton guy. I know some
Okay.
people are fishy.
Nice.
Okay.
Just rode the Peloton this morning as well. Got that in.
It's actually really nice, and you don't have to do much on there, especially with how much we do throughout the week. I really like it to flush the body, so I'll do a low impact or I'll do a recovery ride, just to get the blood flowing. So I'm doing something on the off day. I usually like to get a lift in directly after the game. So on Monday, so Tuesday, complete off day. Love the Peloton in the morning.
Nice.
And then, like you mentioned, it's whatever I have set up that week, whether it's something philanthropic that I want to get done within the community, or whether it's something on a personal level. I know I've been following you for a while now. I mean, shoot, this show right here, I know you stream. So whatever that may be that I want to start branding outside of football. So that's why I was so hyped to come on here and chop it up with you, because I just see how you move outside of football, like not football endorsements, but how you build your brand outside of football. Like I like to game. So starting to think about ways, okay, should I try to get into the gaming world? Is that something I could see myself doing consistently? Because anything that you do in this world, you got to do it consistent. But then another thing is, I have a fiance, so I'm engaged. So you have to find time,
congrats.
whether it's, hey, let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner. You got to find that time. Happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true. Very true. JT, man, I mean, that's awesome to hear. Like I said, I got the Peloton ride in this morning. We need sponsorship. Peloton, where the hell are you at this point? We've got one of the best running backs in the NFL talking about Peloton on the show. I wanted to ask you a little bit about transitioning, like Austin said, into year 3, just kind of growing into your role as a pro football player, because there was one thing, when you were coming into the league, you didn't catch a lot of passes in college. That wasn't the way you were used as a collegiate player. But and folks ask questions like, is that a he wasn't asked to do it or he can't do it type of thing? But man, I mean, you've really grown and developed and shown those skills in the NFL. Was that something that you've kind of worked on throughout the years, or was it just always something that was in your back pocket and you weren't really used that way in college?
Well, definitely in college, it was in my back pocket. And I will say, to a certain degree, if they asked me to do it, I definitely could have. But comparing that now to back then, I mean, it's grown so much. Just coming into the NFL and realize, watching guys like Austin, watching guys like McCaffrey, watching guys like that make plays consistently through the air as a back. Just being able to watch that tape, James White, and being able to, hey, how can I implement some drills? How can I practice these things throughout the week in order to continue to build that repertoire into my basket? And this past year, actually, just being able to just show the coaches that, hey, if you need me there, I can do it. I can be the guy, whatever you may need me to be, whatever kind of scheme you may need me to fit in, I'm able to do it. And I would definitely say it's actually really fun. Especially when you can make plays through the air, you kind of feel like a receiver a little bit, and it kind of makes you feel good.
Heck yeah, man. Look, if you can mold as a running back to any type of scheme or any type of play style, the longevity for yourself, right, is it's so much greater, right? Just because now you can be used in several different ways. You're not just, one thing, and then you better be the best at that one thing. Because that's how the league works. We need people that can do more. What else can you do? I'm sure you've heard that saying, the more you can do, right? That's going to keep you on the field and, keep you valuable to your team or whatever your team you're on going in the future. So fantasy football podcast, Eckler's Edge. We talk about fantasy a little bit. Have we tapped into a little bit more? Anything like that? Do you have any teams, any relationship with it? Stay away from it. What's going on in the fantasy world with
So
Jonathan?
number one, I always love to, your fans, they believe in you. They pick you because they believe in you. So, you always get the, hey, don't worry about the outside noise. And it's not so much of the outside noise, but it's more in particular the Jonathan Taylor fans. You want to do your best for your fans because hey, they could have picked anybody in NFL, but they said, you know what, I'm going with my guy 2-8. So, whenever you have those games where you're like, man, it didn't do as great. You should start thinking about your fans. You're like, man, I let the fans down. That's the biggest thing. Not so much as what, the trolls say, those burner accounts. It's those legit fans who really pick you and say, hey, I think my guy is going to go off. And I'm like, every week I got to try my best to back my fans up.
Look, that's music to my ears. And I know Matt's ears too. Because,
for real,
man,
yeah.
Because, man, like a lot of guys, they don't understand the magnitude of fantasy football and how it adds layers of depth to the NFL as far as people watching it and buying into us as players. Because you have, whether you know it or not, you probably do, you have thousands upon thousands of other fans. They're not just Colts fans, but they're Jonathan Taylor fans because you scored them fantasy points, right? And that has so much value that lays within that, right? And so if you just tap in, give them a shout out, say what's up, or you're just not talking to them, just not doing, the little things that you see out there, that hating on them, that it just holds so much value for you as a player throughout your career and, going beyond your career as far as your recognition. It gives you opportunities and options for what you want to do with your life. So it's like, man, like I love that. You're in year 3, man, like keep that attitude about it because that will pay off dividends in the future, man.
It's insane. I didn't realize until last season. I didn't realize. I knew people played fantasy. I knew it was a thing. Bets, people play some money or just people doing crazy bets. Hey, you need to stay inside a Waffle House for 24 hours or whatever it may be. I didn't realize how huge it was until last season when, people would say, hey, are you Jonathan Taylor? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're my favorite player. I have you on my fantasy team. So not like, hey, you're my favorite player. I know who you are. Oh, that's the guy who was scoring those points for me on my fantasy team.
Yeah, man. And sheesh, like the NFL would not be as big as it is if it weren't for sports betting and fantasy football. Like people get invested because of that, right? And they're in, right? You see the screaming at the TV, you see the bets that have been placed on this and that. And it's like, man, people are literally and hypothetically invested in football because of that. So yeah, I think it's always a plus for any players that are given a little bit of a love or just aware of that and aware of the value there, man, because for us, that's less low hanging fruit. Like we're already going to go out there and play as hard as we can. Right. So indirectly, we're going to be benefiting them at the same time. So why would you not tap into that? That's just like free value sitting there for you. So good stuff, man. Proud of you. Hell yeah.
Hey, and JT, I don't know if you know this, but like talk about investment. You were pretty much by and large the first pick in every fantasy draft this year. Like that, talk about a big time investment. Like I remember talking to Austin in the preseason. He's like, I didn't even know I was going, like 5th overall or something like that. It's like, yeah, you guys are like the best in the game at this point. So not only are people invested in you, they're heavily invested. So then when they see like, it's like Austin says, it just adds that extra value because they see you go out there and you crush it for the Colts and like everything like that. It just adds more value to your fan base, to our enjoyment of the game. So it's pretty awesome, man, that you're so open to it.
Heck yeah, 100%. I mean, because a lot of times people can be, like I said, they can just get caught up. Oh, I stay away from that stuff. Fantasy football doesn't mean anything. And to a degree, it doesn't necessarily affect, whether you guys are winning and losing games, but just for your legacy, you personally, your fan base, the people who tune in to watch Austin Ekeler, to tune in to watch Jonathan Taylor, they want to see you do well. And they're invested. Like you said, they're invested. They're placing bets. They're saying, you know what? I'm taking my guy over your guy any day. So like we're already going out there. We want to win, so we're going to play hard. It's just adding extra value, and we love it too. You want to show appreciation to your fans. You want to help them out.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I've told Austin this before. I don't have like a favorite team anymore since I've been doing this for like the last 10 years, but I get invested in like the guys I really like the receivers, the running backs and stuff I really like. I'm sitting there on Sunday Night Football, like rooting for the Chargers. I couldn't really, it doesn't really matter, but like Austin's my guy. I want him to do well. I want him to succeed. So yeah, man, it's just all that adding value. Hey man, we do got to ask you a little bit about what's been going on with the Colts this year. A lot of crazy stuff, right? I mean, Jeff Saturday gets hired as the head coach, and it's been going pretty well. Like you win your first game, you take the Eagles down to the wire there. What's the vibe been like there with you and just getting your work done while all this kind of craziness has been going on around you?
Yeah, man. Like you mentioned, it was a jam-packed couple of weeks. Number one thing is we were really intrigued by his passion. I mean, Jeff Saturday, of course, given his history with the Colts, from day one, it's never felt like it was about him coming to the forefront. Hey, I'm going to save and turn this organization around. We're going to win a bunch of games. He genuinely wants the organization to succeed, whether it's from the players to the coaching staff to the equipment staff. I mean, he just wants to do his part to help put the organization in the best position for success because, I mean, he's a cult. He's a cult for life. Like, that's what Jeff Saturday is. So, it's just important to him, but it's also important to us. We want to win games. So it's easy to go and play for a guy that he wants nothing but the organization to succeed. It's not, okay, I need to make sure I come in here and I win a bunch of games so they know that, hey, it was me. It's no, we have a great coaching staff. We have great players. We have great people in the building, in the front office. Let's all work collectively to get to where we want to go. So it's just about how we respond. I thought we responded really well going into Vegas after those crazy couple of weeks. And now, we love to finish that one last Sunday, love to finish it, went down to the wire. We would love to come away with that one. But we need to continue to stack every single week. How are we going to respond every week? Because we know everyone in the world is going to be watching us every week now. How are the Colts going to respond in the second half of the season?
That's deep, man. That's deep on so many levels. Like you could bring that into life. You could bring that into football. Like really what our legacy, what our journey going forward is how we respond to the adversities in our life, man. So could not have said any better, man. Look at this guy. This might be my favorite episode, man. Let's go.
No,
let's
man.
go.
I'm so excited of being here. That's so cool.
Hey man, and like I said, the people out there love seeing you guys chop it up like this together. This is really cool, man. I definitely think too. Just last couple things before we get you out of here, JT. It feels like there's been a big commitment to you through this like Jeff Saturday transition. I mean, these last two games for you have been awesome, so that's great to see. But it's Thanksgiving week, man. We got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. I do think before we get you out of here, man, we got to ask you like, what's your plan for Thanksgiving? What's on your agenda? What's typically on your plate? Any hot food takes you need to drop before we get out of here?
Number one, this is like a crucial week. It's a crucial week because I always plan it out. I'm like, okay, this week I'm planning out my meal. So I know I'm going to have a Thanksgiving plate because I know there's some guys that are like, oh no, I'm sticking to my diet. Well, I'm going to plan. I'm going to plan to make sure that I can have a plate. But number one, I am a huge, huge turkey guy. Just growing up, it's just something that we had in the house every Thanksgiving. But I'm a dark meat kind of guy. And I don't know if it's because my mother is a bit older, so, they kind of like that part of the turkey, and it just grew on me. But, man, that is like I always need, hey, I need a slice of turkey. Hey, can I get a piece of the dark meat, please? Like, and they're like, oh, wow, you like? I'm like, yes, please. So I'm not sure if that's just how I grew up, as well as cranberry sauce. Those two things I need those. What about you guys?
Any prep specific with the turkey? Like, do you like it in the oven, the smoker, the deep fryer? What's your thoughts there, man?
So usually we have it conventional in the oven, but I actually just spoke to someone today. And they're having like a fried turkey. I've never had that before.
It's pretty epic.
I kind of want to try that. I mean, it doesn't seem conventional, but I kind of want to try that. I've never had that before.
I know Matt.
It's pretty epic. No, it's pretty epic, but you got to be careful. You got to have safety. But this year, I'm taking over the turkey for the first time for the family, and I'm big into like my big green egg, the Traeger. Hey, there's another. Look at all these sponsorship opportunities for God's sake. We're name dropping so many brands. I'm big into using those. Like, so I'm gonna be taking over the turkey. So you got to wish me luck, man. I'm pretty nervous but excited, to take over the turkey because, like you said, it's the mainstay. If you mess up the turkey, I mean, day's over.
Yeah.
Good luck. Hey, good luck with that, Matt. I have not had the obligation yet to handle turkey duties in my lifetime yet. So when that day comes, I definitely want to make sure I'm prepared. So best of luck to you for that.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, JT. Austin, what about you? Well, I know we're going to talk Thanksgiving stuff,
Man,
but what's
look,
your take?
For me, look, I'm not big into the Thanksgiving foods. Okay. I get. For me, it's more so like, let's get together, right? So I'm having a little Friendsgiving, getting together with some of the guys and their wives. And so that's what it'll be for me. As far as the food, yeah, I'll eat it, but it's not like I'm looking forward to the turkey, to mashed potatoes. They're like, it's all right. It's all right. But like JT was talking about, like, I'm one of those guys, like, I'm stick to my normal diet. But I won't be the guy that's like, oh, I'm not going to eat it because I don't necessarily like it. I'll show up, but it's really for me just to bond, have some good times.
I definitely get that. Another thing is that's kind of what brings people together, breaking bread over the table. Like you mentioned, you're having a Friendsgiving. I feel like food is one of those things that it just brings people together. It's like everyone, you need it for survival. You need it to live. And whenever you break bread with someone, whether it may be Thanksgiving food or not, even if you just have a cup of coffee with somebody, whenever I break bread with someone, it means a lot because, it's just about life. It's just about
man.
life.
Yeah, man. Look at this guy. Co-host right here. Next year, we're bringing
for
JT
real.
back. Let's go.
Well, can we keep it a 3-man show though? I'm really not trying to get replaced here, brother. So yeah. Hey, maybe we'll do an off-season episode where we all get together and we break some bread there. Hey, JT, really appreciate your time, man. Good luck the rest of the season. You've been crushing it, and I know all your fantasy fans appreciate it. The Colts fans appreciate it, and we here at EKELER'S Edge appreciate you coming on, man.
No, I appreciate you guys so much. This has been awesome. Austin, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll definitely connect again.
For sure.
Whether it be this season and the off season, I definitely want to connect with you some more on some things outside of football.
No doubt, man.
Stay healthy, man. The best of luck the rest of the way as well. Actually, we'll be seeing you guys in a couple of weeks, so that'll be awesome. Definitely save that jersey for me. Definitely.
Hey, no doubt. Let's get it done. All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
you coming on.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Likewise, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving, JT. Appreciate you. All right, Austin. That was awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice word. I love that. Leave that in.
Great word. I'm a professional word guy. No, man, that was awesome. Thanks to Jonathan Taylor for joining the podcast. Thank you, Austin. Talk about being thankful. I'm thankful that you do this show with us every single week. It's a cool opportunity for people to see you and Jonathan Taylor, like these two studs of the NFL, really going back and forth. That's great. So thankful for you that you join the show every single week, man. Appreciate you.
And it goes both ways, right? Like this show doesn't exist unless we have you and our cast behind the scenes as well. So very thankful for all of us to make this go, right? And football and fantasy football. Like there's so many things, right? It's all the opportunities, I say, man. But good stuff, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I'm floored every single week by the opportunities presented to me that I get to do this for a living. It's pretty wild. Thank God I don't have a real job. Anyways, Austin, appreciate you, man. Good luck to you and the Chargers. The rest of the week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Appreciate it, man. Up next, we've got Dalton Del Don joining me to preview the 3 games coming up on Thanksgiving.